Hey, how's it going? Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. I didn't know how to turn the microphone on. I am here in San Francisco, California, Sports Byline USA. Was just talking to Rick Tittle and Darren and Dom, and it's the first time that I've been here since I think 2012, 2013-ish, somewhere around there. Might have been a little more recent, but this is my second time in studio. So I guess there's a sign on the door over there that says once every 10 years. And in fact, it is true. Once every 10 years, I show up here at Sports Byline USA. And we got a lot to talk about on the show here today. Mike Sempervive is going to join us in the next segment. Obviously, the big story last night, AEW Dynamite. We talked all day about the idea of having an overrun. And apparently, you know, Dave in the Daily Update had said, make sure you set your VCRs 30 extra minutes. We were trying to figure out what we need an overrun for. And at the end of the day, we had a 2-minute overrun, which saw the debut of a giant. And we'll tell you who it was, why they did it, and how this ties into the Discovery Time Warner merger. We've also got all of the championship matches on the show, including Red Dragon versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the AEW World Tag Team titles, which we expected to be a title change, but was in fact not a title change. And in the main event, we did have a new Ring of Honor television champion as Samoa Joe ended up winning the ROH television title from Minoru Suzuki. So we'll tell you about that and so much more. Back in a moment to really get this show on the road. Wrestling Observer Live.
Last month, we got to see AEW crown a brand new AEW Women's World Champion and Thunder Rosa. I had the opportunity to speak with Thunder Rosa, and here are some of the best moments from that interview.
Everything that I have, like you see all this stuff that I have, is because I have worked my ass off for it. Nothing, absolutely nothing has to be handed to me. Nothing. And they know, and I get so emotional because in LA, having girls that look like me, the brown girls, and like all types of girls that come and they say, I follow wrestling because you make me follow wrestling. You make me believe in wrestling. It's so important. And it's so important that people know that I'm real. And then what I'm doing is because I'm not doing just because I want to get a title or just because I want to get a paper saying my name, Thunder Rosa, that she's the best in the world. No, they know I'm doing this because I believe in this and because I believe in change. And even though like a lot of the times I'm not on the spotlight or on the big shows, being in like Elevation and Dark and the people like it's crazy. I still can't believe it. Like every time I come out and like people go nuts and I'm just like, oh, is this me? Is this happening for me? And it is happening for me. Again, it's because they see how real Thunder Rosa is and how she works for what she wants and she believes in what in what she's working for. Right. So I think that can make anybody a little scared and a little afraid because you can be under the spotlight, you can have all the accolades and you can have everything. But sometimes you can't have that emotional connection that other people have. And that's what makes your opponent dangerous because that you start getting in people's heads. It's like, what is this that person has? She has nothing. Like she's just a song. That's the reason why people get so pumped up. No, it's not a song. I'm a whole vibe, bitch. A whole fucking vibe. And if you don't believe it, every single city I go to, it doesn't matter who is in there, like what the demographics are in that city. Thunder Rosa comes and they feel the thunder. Some of the matches that I have envisioned and some of the things that I would love to do, when I was an NWA champion, I was a fighting champion. Like I went out everywhere. I defended that thing during COVID times. I found a way to make it relevant. And I want the AEW women's division to be kind of like just like Kenny Omega was doing. I would love to do something like that. I think we haven't had a champion like that. And I think I have what it takes to be that. I have the grit. I have the determination. I have the consistency. That's what I've been working on for the last 2 years. How to become a real leader that leads with passion, with compassion, that is ready to take on challenges, that is ready to build other people up, that is ready to I think this is the most important part, represent others instead of just representing me.
I hope you guys enjoyed this quick roundup. If you did, go ahead and let me know. You can follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com.
Every segment.
It's like I've never done this before. There's like a button to turn the mic on and then a button to turn the mic off.
Well, it's like a lot of things. Muscle memory. You're so used to doing a certain thing, and now you're in a whole new home. Got to get used to it for a day or two.
I am. I haven't figured out a good angle for the Twitch homies either, so I apologize, everybody. I'm doing my best here, but...
I just hope producer Dom pops up right behind your shoulder from the other side of the glass and says hello.
Well, luckily this is that tinted glass, so I can just barely see him. I just see his white hat nodding up and down as he chuckles at my my incompetence here. Anyway, we got a lot of news to get into here today, everybody. We can jibber jabber more here as we get going, but obviously the big story last night coming off this. Well, we'll get into that in a moment. Actually, I got a bigger story, which is the update on Shinjiro Otani. 01 has provided an update on Shinjiro Otani. The promotion released a statement on Thursday updating fans on the 49-year-old's condition. He underwent surgery on Wednesday to prevent further deterioration of a cervical spinal cord injury. The procedure is said to have gone as planned. Otani has been transferred to another hospital. His wife, Eriko Otani, released a statement as well. She says, I married a professional wrestler, Shinjiro Otani. So I was prepared to accept a situation like this, but when I think of Shinjiro's disappointment, I cry. However, we will not look down but forward, and with the help of pro wrestling, we will continue to support Mr. Shinjiro. We will do our best with your warm support. We hope that you will continue to watch over us warmly. Finally, I would like to ask for your continued support for 01 and all the wrestlers that Mr. Shinjiro has been protecting. So no update on his ability to move his arms and legs or anything. We only know that he got a surgery and that it was considered to be successful. So all of the best to Otani, and hopefully we get some good news sometime soon.
Yeah, not much to add there at all. Very, just a heartbreaking statement there, but obviously looking to move forward, hopefully in New Japan running this weekend. I know, a lot of people see that face wash spot in the corner, and, I don't know who a lot of people now kind of identify with that spot. Chris Dickinson, though, uses it, and I would bet a good deal of money that his influence was Shinjiro Otani, who used that move. I don't want to say first, but he used it, probably he was the most known for it, at least when I was coming up watching wrestling, and that's kind of who everybody got it from. So all the best to his family. Hopefully there's some sort of miracle. He regains the feeling, and again, the quality of life is all that matters at this point.
So last night was Dynamite, and one of the big stories we'd been talking about was the overrun. Tony Khan had announced there was going to be an overrun, and we were wondering why. And David suggested setting your VCR for an extra 30 minutes, your DVR or whatever. And as it turned out, it was a 2-minute overrun, which was built around the debut of a giant. The ending of Dynamite featured the debut of Satnam Singh, and it was designed to build the AEW brand in India and has a lot to do with the Warner Media Discovery merger. AEW has been on television on the Discovery-owned channel Eurosport India, a deal Tony Khan made based on the impending merger. As part of the first week after the Discovery merger, Tony Khan wanted to shoot an angle that would be a breakthrough in that market, using someone of some renown in that country as the only Indian-born player ever drafted by the NBA, when Singh was a second-round draft choice of the Dallas Mavericks in 2015, even though he never played college basketball or pro basketball overseas. He never made the NBA, but played several years in the NBA Summer League, G League, and National Basketball League of Canada. Signed by AEW in September in an attempt to create a star for the India market. He'll be managed by Sanjay Dutt, who gained notoriety in India years back when he wrestled for TNA, when TNA had a following in India, and both will be used to promote AEW on Eurosport India in that market. Singh, Dutt, and Jay Lethal will be a group of AEW on AEW television, pushed as a lead act in a promotion of the brand in India. So, if you saw it, what they did was they had a main event with Samoa Joe and Minoru Suzuki. It was a great main event, and I thought the show overall, as we'll get to, was a great show. But Samoa Joe won, and then, and this is what I think the big mistake was, the lights went out. And anytime you turn off the lights, the fans are expecting, who's it going to be? Might be this person, might be that person, you know, regardless of who it is, somebody that they will know. And the lights turn out and they turn back on, and there's a tall guy. And I think everybody was like, okay. And then the tall guy lumbered around, and he squeezed Samoa Joe and beat him up and everything like that. And it wasn't like it was I know some people think it was like a horrible angle. It was fine. I mean, you've got to debut a guy. It's a giant. He's going after Samoa Joe. But I think the issue was by turning off the lights and getting everybody excited about who it was going to be, they were let down because they had no idea who this guy was. And so he beats up Joe for 2 minutes, and then that's it. Away they go. The show goes off the air. And, you know, a lot of people not big fans of this angle. No, I would not say it was a tipping point. It was just, you know, it was a very WWE-style angle. It was the debut of the Great Khali. It was the debut of Giant Silva. It was the debut of just some random Omos, some giant. And we get so much of that in WWE that I didn't, it wasn't my thing. I didn't like it. I was all right. I can't say I didn't like it. It was just there.
You know what it was like? And I don't know how anybody could say this is some sort of tipping point or anything like that. I mean, it was the tipping point for the night, I guess, where, you know, you didn't want to get dessert and you tipped because it was like the whole night was like you get a bone-in ribeye, you get all these fantastic sides, you know, everything it's a delicious meal that, you know, of high quality. And then at the end, they kind of gave you this McDonald's drive-through cup, that little sundae they have. It's kind of melty and it's not even real ice cream. It's this weird, you know, mix of different things. And it's just like, you know, that's kind of what it was. And it was underwhelming for sure. I think because of the match that they had and the lights going out and people knowing that he's out there and who's involved, Claudio, you know, I'm not sure what it was, but one thing I know for sure is it didn't hit, but that's okay. I don't know where they're going to go with this guy. I know he was obviously drafted for the NBA, so he does have some physical talent, you know, but we'll see. We have gone through this so many times from El Gigante, you know, down now to Omos, and how many of those guys are effective, you know? It hasn't happened all that often, and oftentimes when they should use someone in a 911 type of role where they just go out there and throw them around, no, we got to see if they can work. We got to be insistent upon that. So, hey, I don't know if this guy's the answer in India, but he certainly, sometimes these are the things that you do, and that's okay because you're trying to reach out, you're trying to make new fans, you're trying to let somebody have somebody that they can identify with, and this is at least a fresh start, at least with Khali. Even though that didn't work, it was a fresh start. Whereas, you know, Jinder Mahal, when they tried it, you took a guy who's been a jobber, he was a joke, he's a complete buffoon, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's going to be the star of India. And then by the time he got to India, he wasn't even the champion. So two different philosophies in wrestling that we know right now. We'll see how AEW takes things. But remember when Ring Ka King for a little while was far better than watching TNA?
No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember those days?
But I do see a lot of people here on the Twitch chatter are,
oh,
hey,
look at
listen.
him. Now he's kicked back now.
Well, I changed the camera angle, so... But listen, hey, some people here are going, oh, man, this was the worst angle they've ever shot in the history of AEW. Listen, I'm not saying that it was like a great angle, and when it was over, I was like, oh, man, that's money right there. But, bro, this was far from the worst angle in the history of AEW. Maybe because we'd had such a great show and it was such a letdown, you might have a sort of an inflated view of how bad it was, but there have been way worse angles. And there were actually worse segments on the show, although the show overall I thought was excellent. Back in a moment to talk about it. Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. It's Denise, and today I've gathered some of the best moments from the Samoa Joe Ring of Honor media scrum. Take a look.
Obviously, it was a major surprise to me, especially coming from my former position and how hard I was pushing to buy the library for the other company. So let me know why it was being such a difficult process. But when that did come up, at the same time, having Tony have it and knowing how much he loves wrestling and knowing how much he loved ROH and the product just from our meetings and time knowing each other, I knew it would be in good hands, and I knew it would be treated with respect, and it would be kind of made available to the fans in the best way possible. So I was very, very happy with it. At this point in my career and what I've done. The second release, my going back to WWE was majorly because of the people that I'd worked with and the relationships that I built in the company, and namely two people in Triple H and William Regal. As Triple H obviously dealing with his situation, which I knew about and was way more concerned about than my employment. And Regal, his departure, I knew the writing was on the wall for me. And, which is fine. We were a big collective team and a big collective kind of, a think tank within the company. And, they went a different way. And, as far as the release, I mean, it's an up and down process for a lot of people. For me, I mean, it just freed me up to really kind of pursue a lot of projects that I really wanted to work on. And kind of freed me up to, start talking with Tony and talking about the future of what he wanted to do. And I was very surprised a lot of that matched up. A lot of guys, they get to a certain point in the industry and, they don't want to put themselves in the crucible. They don't want to put themselves in situations where they got young, hungry guys who want to come up and tear their throat out for their spot. I've never had an issue with that. And, that's a major reason why I'm here. Talking with Tony, understanding the lay of the land and the athletes that have been attracted to AEW and ROH, I knew that, it was a place that I wanted to be. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new, kind of burgeoning stars that are coming into their own. And, these are the environments where I thrive. When I came into NXT, it was very much the same type of thing. When I came into WWE, everywhere I go, I'm searching out for those type of matchups and those type of individuals. And AEW is flush with them, and ROH is flush with them. And, now I have this grand opportunity to pursue those targets on both brands. So, yeah, it did play a major role. Because, obviously, I have a lot of my legacy tied up with the promotion. And, a lot of work that many fans have enjoyed over the years has been, affiliated with the promotion. So, to see it and to be a part of it and to help influence the future of it, it was kind of a unmissable opportunity.
Alrighty, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that roundup of highlights. I will be back with another video, but in the meantime, make sure to enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. I think I finally got this all figured out. It only took me a half hour.
Oh, man.
Should we start the show over again?
No, somebody take a screenshot of Bryan right now, him kicked back right there, and then make sure that you tag Zack Sabre Jr. and hashtag chicken chest.
Oh, get out of here. You're an idiot. Hey, let's talk about this AEW show. I thought it was an excellent show overall, with the exception of the women's match. Did you guys see that women's match? Marina Shafir? Holy smokes. I got a lot to say about that one. But it opened up with CM Punk and Penta, which I thought was an excellent opening match. Punk decided he wanted to be a luchador because he was facing Penta. So he's trying all sorts of springboard, flip into the arm drag, the whole 9 yards. Then he goes up top and he's going to do like a springboard into a Frankensteiner. And he literally misses by a mile. He like springboards, but instead of going up, he goes down. And then he fell down and crashed and sold his knee. And they kind of sort of turned into a spot there for a second. Then they get back on track, and he ended up hitting that top rope Frankensteiner. But at the end of the day, hit the GTS off a springboard by Penta, and he got the pin. So Punk racking up wins here, and he'll likely be getting the championship title match at the end of May. Versus the winner of Hangman Page and Adam Cole, which is coming up on Friday, Rampage, in a Texas death match at 4 p.m. here in San Francisco. 4 p.m. on the West Coast. Not ideal.
No.
We had Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Red Dragon for the AEW Tag Team titles. Most people figured this was going to be a title change, and in fact, it was not. And they had a very, very good match. And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus hit the Thoracic Express and got the pin. And to me, the key to this was afterwards, O'Reilly goes after them, and FTR comes out to make the save. And they made a point that FTR was the Double Crown champions. And of course, when you hear Double Crown, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Why, it's the Triple Crown. And so I immediately thought, you know what? Maybe it's actually going to be FTR who are the next AEW World Tag Team Champions. And they will be the Triple Crown champions, holding all 3 sets of these belts. So I think that you could actually do... I would prefer a singles match, but with O'Reilly and everybody doing the attack afterwards, this might end up being a 3-way with all 3 titles on the line, which would be a fantastic match. I guess we'll see where they end up going, but that's what I thought coming off of that. We had Shawn Dean and MJF, which I loved with every ounce of my being. So Shawn Dean has beaten MJF by disqualification early this year. So, of course, you watch all this WWE and you figure, okay, MJF's going to go in there, he's going to get his win back. So MJF gets in the ring and he's just killing poor Captain Shawn Dean. And then all of a sudden they cut backstage and Wardlow has arrived. There's bodies everywhere. And Wardlow shows up and he starts beating up all these dudes. And they're sending out like 500 security guys, just one guy after another. And Wardlow's killing all of them. And MJF's freaking out and he's running around outside like a chicken with his head cut off. And finally he's on the ramp and all of a sudden he looks up and he sees Bryce Remsburg. And Remsburg's like, 7, 8, 9. And MJF's like way at the top of the ramp. And MJF goes, oh, let's say Bryce. He goes, listen. I don't know what Tony Khan's paying you, but whatever he's paying you, I'll give you triple if you just don't say 10. And Bryce looks around to the crowd, and they're all cheering, and he goes, 10! And the place goes crazy, and MJF's furious. He's lost again to Captain Shawn Dean, this time by count. He's so angry. This was awesome. Now, I hate to say it because, he's an idiot, dislikable person, but MJF was totally in the right. Like, what was this guy counting for? There was a riot outside of the ring, and there's like 5,000 security guys between MJF and the ring, and you're counting? So I hate to say it, but...
well, if we're going to be serious about that, then
I am going to be serious.
Well,
if you're a serious man.
If you're going to do that, then what sense would it make for MJF to get on the mic and try to bribe an official? He could either be suspended, fired, something like that, and who cares? The decision could be overturned anyway, and he would have just had another loss off TV. So
look at these geeks.
If you're going to go that direction with that.
This guy goes, Bryce is a stickler for the rules. Bro, there was a riot that broke out outside the ring. The rules should be that this was a no contest. What are you counting the guy out for?
Hey, look,
anyway,
wrestling rules, all right?
The Jericho Appreciation Society versus Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. And they had a very good match. There were a lot of very good matches on this show. And 2.0, which had been beaten up earlier in the parking lot, they show up, and of course they get beat up like geeks. And then it ends up with Kingston finally getting his hands on Garcia after all this time. But then behind the referee's back, Jericho hits Kingston in the back with Floyd the Bat, and Kingston's pinned. So this feud must continue.
I didn't notice. Did Ange get his shoes back?
No. He did a run-in barefoot.
They're going to be hanging over a wire outside of somebody's house over there.
And then, my God in heaven almighty, Marina Shafir in Sky Blue.
I didn't hate this.
So,
am I a bad person?
Listen, well, it wasn't like it was, here's what happened, everybody. Okay? They had about 3,000 tickets sold in a 4,000-seat building. So they maybe got, 300-400 people walk up. There's probably about 3,400 people in this building, okay? So for most of the show, you would think that there was 10,000 people in this building. This crowd was so hot for stuff on this show until Marina Shafir came out to face Sky Blue. And I think that they figured, well, everyone likes Sky Blue, so we'll get some, babyface sympathy or whatever. Well, they were wrong. You would think that there were, and I'm not even making this up, 0 people in this building. You would think that there was less people in this building than there were during the pandemic when there was nothing but wrestlers around the ring. They were deadly silent for this match. And Marina beat her up and looked mean, and nobody cared. And I'm going to need more time after the break to further dissect this segment. But holy smokes. The quarter, I'm going to have to see the quarter for this. Watch it be sky high, but I don't think it's going to be.
The highest rated thing. Oh my God, can you imagine?
We had Team Taz versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Ricky Stark's here in his hometown. He's just beloved. And so they didn't have him go out there like Miz and bury the town to get booed. He was just beloved. And they had a good match. And Powerhouse Hobbs, after interference from Taz, hit Keith Lee, not Swerve Strickland. He hit Keith Lee with a gigantic spine buster, and he pinned him in the middle of the ring. A huge win for Powerhouse Hobbs. Big win for Starks in his hometown. I like this a lot.
Every part of that match worked perfectly, I thought. The result, the fact he didn't beat Swerve, it's a big win for Powerhouse Hobbs. Lee has looked good. I mean, everything about that I thought worked perfectly.
Then we have, here are the lineups. A Rampage Friday live. We have a Texas Death Match, Hangman Page, Adam Cole. We have the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Gun Club in a 6-man. We got the Ruby Soho, Robin Renegade, Owen Hart Foundation tournament qualifier. I wouldn't be surprised if Ruby Soho won this whole tournament, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Battle of the Belts, we have Scorpio Sky and Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. And Thunder Rosa will be facing Nyla Rose. I'm going to need more time after the break to talk about that segment, by the way. And then Dynamite next week, we have got Wardlow versus The Butcher. Dr. Britt Baker returns in Britsburg against Daniel Camella. Jungle Boy versus Kyle O'Reilly, Owen Hart Foundation tournament qualifier. Darby Allin versus Andrade in a coffin match. Tony Khan will make a huge announcement. And I told you guys a few weeks ago that when he had that Ring of Honor announcement, that was not 100% confirmed before, he made his announcement that he had an announcement. So he said he had an announcement before they were sure that that was actually going to be the announcement. So there has been a backup announcement for a while now, and we're going to find out what that is coming up on Wednesday.
Brian, I regret to inform you, by the way, Ruby Soho apparently has been buried underground, and she's being used worse now than she ever was in WWE.
Wrong. So then we had the television championship, Samoa Joe and Minoru Suzuki. I believe the official count was 104 chops back and forth in the first couple of minutes of this match. They're practically bleeding In fact, I think they were bleeding. Their chests are all bruised up, and it's absolutely brutal. And then they got back into the normal wrestling, and just a great match. I mean, I loved every moment of this violence. And then finally, Joe goes for the muscle buster. Suzuki tries an arm bar up in the corner. Joe powers out, hits the muscle buster, wins the title. Samoa Joe, the one thing that was funny about it was they go, his long journey is finally complete. And I was like, it's been a week. But they were talking about the history of Joe in Ring of Honor, but he's now won the Ring of Honor television title. And then, yes, Satnam Singh debuted and beat him up. And him and Lethal and Dutt are a trio. About time we got them trios titles. Back in a moment to talk about a couple of segments in a little more detail. Actually, back in a moment, Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. I recently got to chat with Blake Christian, who has been absolutely killing it on the independent wrestling scene. Here's the Q&A I did with him, part 1. Question number 1, how did you and Cora Jade meet?
So it was during the pandemic. I slid in their DMs, you know.
So it worked for you?
Yeah, it was just, the rest was history after that one.
Question number 2, any pre or post-match rituals?
I always ask the universe to protect me, protect my opponent, let me perform to the best of my ability, keep us safe, and, you know, that's my pre-match ritual always.
Question number 3, what's your favorite city to wrestle in?
Oh, this is a good one. I have to say top of the list right now, just because it was at the Hammerstein Ballroom, was New York City.
Such a good moment for GCW and everything.
Sure.
Question number 4, favorite wrestlers growing up?
Eddie Guerrero, top of the list, all-time favorite. Second, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, those two are my top 2 always.
Nice. Favorite late night snack?
I like strawberry Twizzlers. I don't like cherry ones. I like the strawberry Twizzlers.
Question number 6, favorite person to watch wrestle? Favorite person to wrestle.
Favorite person to wrestle. That's a good one. I've wrestled a lot of people that I enjoy wrestling. I don't know. Maybe a top between Jonathan Gresham, Nick Wayne, and Jordan Oliver's another one. Me and Jordan Oliver have always had great matches, so I enjoy combining our minds together to make something special.
I love it. All young up-and-coming stars, continue building upon that. Question number 7, favorite movie genre?
I'm such a movie guy, but I do love the horror movies.
Question number 8, worst travel story?
Probably this past weekend. So I overslept, missed my flight, but also when I got there, they said it was canceled anyways. So I tried to book a flight to get home that day, but didn't work out, but it was fine. Went to WrestleMania, watched the show.
Question number 9, best way to entertain yourself while traveling?
I either watch a lot of wrestling, I play Angry Birds or Tetris, or I just listen to music and sleep.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Blake Christian. I'll see you on the next video.
Yes, you are. Wrestling Observer Live, Bryan Alvarez, Mike Sempervive right here. I've been sitting here taking selfies because look, everybody. I'm here in Sports Byline. I'm like Austin Theory.
Just Theory. Are you going to be just Alvarez
Oh,
now?
yeah, I forgot. Yeah. No, that's ridiculous. That's preposterous. But I tweeted it at Bryan Alvarez if you want to see what the world-famous Sports Byline studios look like. Because, of course, everyone on the YouTube chat doesn't understand it's a radio show. So now there's proof of it. So I got two things I got to talk about, Mike.
Okay.
Before we talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. I'm sure you're very concerned about that.
No, I'm not at all.
I know.
So the two segments we got to talk about are this Marina Shafir versus Sky Blue match, and then that Thunder Rosa thing that they did. All right, so listen. They've been building up that Jade Cargill is going to face number 30. And who is number 30? Who could this possibly be? And you think about all these different people and, maybe even think somebody like, oh, man, what about Britt Baker? Like, she's not the champion anymore. That'd be a pretty big match and this and that. And so then, they randomly announce on television it will be Marina Shafir, okay? And if you're watching Dynamite, and you only watch Dynamite, you don't watch any of these YouTube shows, you have no earthly idea who Marina Shafir is. You may have this vague memory that she had something to do with WWE and whatever, but it's like, okay, Marina Shafir. Well, that's kind of weird. So then, they do what they should do, which is the next week on television, they show you some footage of Marina Shafir killing people on the YouTube shows. All right, great. So then we have this match here. And, absolutely, positively, zero interest in Marina Shafir from this crowd. And when it was over, I was like, holy smokes. First off, I'm thinking about the quality of the match itself. Marina Shafir and Jade Cargill. Maybe this could be like a good match, okay? But I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is they've been building this up very, very big. And then I'm like, are people going to care about this match? That's the other problem. And then, the third problem on top of that is the story they're telling is that Jade Cargill is not worried at all about Marina Shafir. She's sitting there and she's texting on her phone. She's not paying attention to the match and everything like that. And I'm thinking, is Marina Shafir going to beat Jade Cargill? I don't know. I watched this segment and I had a lot of questions. Why is it Marina? Why is this the match? I just had so many questions. Am I the only one?
No.
I was not bullish on this feud when this segment was over at all.
Remember when we talked about it, I had people like, well, how can you say that, Jade and Marina Shafir are Jade can't be. Look, this comes down to Marina Shafir. I like Marina Shafir as a character. If you've seen her outside of AEW and you've seen her on Bloodsport, you've seen some of the videos that have been produced for her Twitter and Instagram, kind of hyping her up where, the cigarette goes out, the coffee goes over, and here's just this bad woman just staring at you, ready to kill. I think there's something there with her, but the problem is when you don't see her in Bloodsport, you see how limited she is as a worker because she just hasn't had the time in yet, unfortunately. So she's a project. And then you have Jade, who's only had 30 matches. She can't carry a show. These are both women that, in my opinion, need somebody to make a great match or even sometimes a good match, somebody out there with some experience to help them. But instead, they're taking these two entities that I think can be strong, and they're going to put them together, and I didn't understand why, because I just don't think you're setting Shafir off on the best foot without some explanation as to who she is and some more slaughters on national television, not on YouTube, not on Dark, and frankly, not even on Rampage, of this woman working her way up to be deadly. And that would explain, Jade keeps getting cheap, easy wins, or not cheap, easy wins, but she keeps getting wins. They could have done that where her mind's in the clouds and waited on this for a while. Her mind's in the clouds and Mark Sterling is trying to convince her, and maybe, just maybe, Mark Sterling goes with a Marina Shafir who may need, if she's going to be in the mix, a mouthpiece to help her out, a presence next to her during these matches with a lot of experience, as Mark Sterling in real life absolutely does as a trainer, as a worker, as a wrestler. That's why he's with Jade. I don't know. I don't know where
let me say this.
I don't know how this match is going to be, but I see these missteps, and I just don't know if, again, Jade isn't going to be hurt by almost anything that happens here, but I don't know if you're maximizing Shafir, the way you should be.
Okay, here's the deal. This is what I also got out of this segment and another segment on the show. And that is that, it is going to seem like a weird analogy, but you know how we used to watch those old retro Raws and like The Rock would go out there and he'd just be doing jobs every week, but he was still over because he was The Rock. And then like they got this idea in their head that, we could beat anybody. They'll still be over. And so like for 25 years, they've been beating everybody. And it turns out there's not another Rock. And when you beat all these guys, they don't really get over like The Rock did. So anyway, the point of that is every now and then they'll have somebody that has never been on American television before. An example would be Minoru Suzuki. The first time Minoru Suzuki showed up, the audience that was there in the building went haywire when the first time that the guy showed up. And I think that's kind of skewed their vision of what their audience knows. Suzuki's never been on U.S. national television, but he got a big pop. So, these viewers will know who the majority of these people are that debut. So, anyway, the point is,
it's a really bad assumption to have. It's a really dumb one in that case.
I believe that this Marina thing is further proof of what we've talked about, which is that if you want somebody to go from Elevation and Dark to a championship match, bro, I am not going to rant about the rankings. You can do whatever you want with the rankings, okay? But they need to show up and they need to win matches for 2 months before it's time for the championship match, okay? People, when they found out Jay Lethal was number 3 ranked, okay? I'm fine if Jay Lethal won a bunch of matches and in the mathematics or whatever, he's ranked number 3. But, brother, I didn't see that guy do any matches on television, and suddenly he's number 3. I don't know this, but I saw someone on the board complaining that Frankie Kazarian is now ranked number 3. Frankie Kazarian? I haven't seen a Frankie Kazarian singles match, and it might have been on the boat. So the point of this is, Marina Shafir, if she was going to be number 30, she should have been on TV 2 months ago, slaughtering women to build up to being number 30 for Jade Cargill. Because what it was number 30 is going to be Marina Shafir. We're going to do one video package, and then all of a sudden you bring her out with Sky Blue, and clearly nobody cares about Marina. It doesn't matter how many people she beat on Dark. It doesn't matter how many people she beat on. They don't know her and they don't care. So they should have done this earlier. Now, I also bring this up because there was a segment last night where Hook is doing his interview, and there's Danhausen. And Danhausen tries to curse him or whatever. And away he goes. And I watched it, and I thought, it's been many, many weeks now since the debut of Danhausen, okay? I know Danhausen. I'm sure that the people on the chat and, such, they knew Danhausen. But now it's been so many weeks that I'm thinking, okay, if you're an average viewer of Dynamite, and Rampage, mind you, it has now been like 2 months, and what in the hell is a Danhausen? Who is this guy? What is he doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's around 1 million people that watch this show every week, and I'm telling you 100% that there is a large percentage of those people who have absolutely, positively no idea who this painted guy going like this is and why. It's time that we need a video on Danhausen, or we need an interview from Danhausen, or we need something to explain who this guy is to the viewers watching on cable television. Now, I don't want to go any further on that because I have to talk, if I may, Mike, about this Thunder Rosa segment. What in the name of God was this? Thunder Rosa is about to do an interview, and once again, she is interrupted before she is allowed to talk. I'm laughing actually because it's so preposterous. It's Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, and they have a cake, and they explain this is a cake to celebrate you having the shortest championship reign of anybody ever. And Thunder Rosa looks at them like, what are you talking about? And she kicks the cake into Nyla Rose's face. Nyla Rose is now blinded. She's so blinded that she goes to throw a forearm and she hits Vicky. Vicky takes this big bump or whatever. So Nyla Rose can't even see. But she gets a hold of Thunder Rosa and she beat the hell out of her and she left her for dead. What was that? Am I the only one? Oh my God. Yeah, it was funny if you don't mind, like, your champion has just been humiliated, and she was treated worse than Cora Jade this week. Cora Jade needs to sit down and start doing some Christmas cards. Dear Vicky, thank you so much for that segment on Dynamite on April 13th. I really appreciate it. Dear Nyla, I so appreciate... Actually, the one she should write a letter to is Thunder Rosa. Thunder, thank you. I almost got Geek of the Week, but you saved me. Holy smokes, this segment. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Thank you.
And it's the line. The only redeeming line was at the end when Nyla said, "Joke's on you because I like cake and violence." I thought that was funny, but the problem was it should have just ended after Vicky. They embarrassed her last week. Have Rosa hit her with the cake in the face. The stumble around, the heel misses. Hits Bobby Heenan, the manager. In this case, it's Vicky. She wouldn't sell as well, didn't sell as well, but that should have been the end of that thing. And then, it would still be cheap, but then we'd have that. Danhausen, I've brought it up in the past, and, people acted as though, how dare you, say that. It's like, I know people, but a lot of people have said that maybe they should actually mention who this person is. Maybe it was coming from the wrong people that said that. Maybe they'll listen to you, but yeah, actually explain who the hell these people are. Tony had an entire bio on Sing last night, his entire NBA. I know who that is. It's not like Excalibur said it. Tony Schiavone said it. So I don't know. Again, that show last night, though, and it's not picking nits. Because
hey, I will agree, by the way, with this person here says, the best part of that segment was at the end when Nyla says, "I love cake and violence." That was funny.
I don't know. You saying that is actually worse than me talking about The Rock and the XFL yesterday. I just said that. And you repeated.
Well, I was reading the chat.
And now people will probably say Bryan Alvarez is a genius for repeating something that Mike said.
Of course
leave the Mike said part out.
I said it louder.
Yes.
By the way, did you say what this person here said? Who actually said this person actually said they said in the chat here.
Yes.
Danhausen doesn't need to be explained.
There you go. See, this is what I got. People are actually dead on about that. They're not even trolling. They're serious. Like, how dare you question what a Danhausen is? It would ruin everything if you had to explain a Danhausen to the people.
Well, you don't need to explain it, but let the guy do a promo or something.
Did you see Regal do the janky leg after the show? After he got the spell put on him by Danhausen? That was awesome.
Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Your next contest this evening is a hair versus hair match.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Man, I spent 12 straight minutes, an entire segment, talking about how I thought Dynamite was an awesome show with the exception of 2 segments. And then I have the temerity to criticize 2 segments. And I am just lambasted by these people. I thought I was the one that was supposed to been paid by Tony Khan. Jiminy Christmas. People defending that Thunder Rosa. They're sitting here telling me that, you ever been hit with a cake in the face? You're not blind. You're not trying to tell me she wasn't blind. She hit her manager, bro. She was blinded. If this same thing would have happened on Raw, this same chat would have been ridiculing this segment for an hour. But it happens on Dynamite, and now, oh man, your check must not have come in this week, Bryan. How dare you? How dare you criticize 2 segments on a Dynamite show?
Why don't you just go all out and actually, even though you liked it, say something bad about Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter just to complete the cycle of people that will now jump on you.
No, they had a good segment. They're going to have a match. Like, it's a match people want to see, and they're making the match, and it's a first-round match. And it was kind of funny. They're like, this will be a first-round match in the tournament, but we don't have brackets yet. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. I would like some brackets for these tournaments here pretty soon. Is that too much to ask, or am I going to get in trouble for asking for brackets?
Well, here's the thing. You can ask for brackets, but I don't want to see any until they're ready. Don't switch this all around or do some nonsense like that. By the way, that'll be Jamie Hayter's best match she has so far. Guaranteed.
Listen, everybody, I want to thank you all for listening here today. I want to thank all the folks for all the hospitality here at Sports Byline. They got cookies for my children, for crying out loud. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Darren. I will see you all in 10 years. And the rest of you I'll see, I guess, tomorrow. Actually, I won't. Mike's taking over tomorrow. See you later, everybody. Talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.